Welcome to Moonlight Recaps, where we specialize in sci-fi movie recaps, film recaps, and do an in-depth analysis to give you story explanations, movie explanations, and full movie retellings. Today's movie recap is Terraformers. Let's dive in. The movie begins in the 21st century when overpopulation has become a big problem. To fix this, humanity comes up with a bold plan to move to Mars. But Mars isn't ready for people to live there yet, so they first need to make it suitable for human life. To start the process of making Mars livable, they send moss and simple life forms like cockroaches to the red planet. In 2597, wanted criminals Komachi and Nanao are cornered by the police in Tokyo. Just in time, Dr. Honda arrives in a flying car and offers them a deal. If they agree to eliminate cockroaches on Mars, their crimes will be forgiven and they'll be paid well. The catch is that they'll have to undergo a risky surgery first. Komachi is initially hesitant, not trusting Honda, but Nanao immediately signs up. Despite Komachi's initial hesitation, Nanao eagerly accepts, and Komachi follows suit to stay with her. 2 years later, they're on their way to Mars with a crew aboard the Bugs 2 spaceship, consisting mostly of criminals selected by Honda. Nanao starts to notice something about the crew. Torimaru and Yoshikane are Yakuza, Asuka is a corrupt cop, Tezuka is a serial killer, Maria is an illegal immigrant, Osako exploits teenagers, Ichiro is a hacker, and Lee is a terrorist. Realizing how she and Komachi were selected, she wonders if Honda only hires criminals. The landing goes smoothly, and the crew notices that Mars isn't red anymore. It looks like Earth thanks to the terraforming process. After the crew leaves, Dojima sends out a drone that finds Bugs 1, a probe secretly sent by Japan 10 years ago. The captain contacts Honda to update him, and Honda gets excited, anticipating that a successful mission will give him the technology to control the world. Meanwhile, Jin finds it strange that they haven't encountered a single dead roach. As he and Maria continue, they stumble upon a shocking sight: 3 strange creatures carrying clubs. Confused and frightened, they quickly hide, realizing they weren't informed about possible Martians. Not far away, Komachi and Nanao also come across one of these strange creatures. Komachi tries to communicate with it, but the creature suddenly attacks Nanao and breaks her neck. After dropping her body, it quickly runs away. Just then, Jin finds them and tells them that the creatures also killed Asuka. The entire crew rushes back to the ship, and after placing Nanao's body in the medical bay, they confront Dojima, who knew the truth all along. Dojima reveals that the creatures they encountered are actually evolved roaches known as terraformers, sent to Mars centuries ago by humanity. The crew is enraged by the deception, but Honda appears as a hologram, reminding them of their agreement and revealing that their surgery gave them bug DNA to fight the roaches. He instructs them to use their powers and fight. To activate their abilities, they must inject themselves with a bug cell activator, but it only lasts briefly. Lee volunteers to confront the roaches, injecting himself with the activator and gaining powers akin to a bombardier beetle. Despite a fierce battle, Lee is ultimately killed by the resilient roach, shocking the crew with the harsh reality of their mission. As a cockroach breaches the spaceship, killing 2 crew members, Dojima injects himself with the bug DNA of the Paraponera ant, granting him immense strength. He swiftly dispatches the intruding roach, but the computer warns of an approaching horde. Maria reveals that the roaches are retaliating because they too want to eliminate their kind, recalling her own instinctual reaction to kill a roach. With the control panel malfunctioning, the crew is trapped. Dojima proposes a plan. He'll stay behind to draw the roaches away, while the team retrieves parts from Bugs 1 to repair Bugs 2. Using the dead roaches' pheromones as bait, Dojima plans to lure the horde. As the roaches swarm the ship, the crew prepares to depart. Komachi, promising to return, notices peculiar strings emanating from Nanao's mouth. The team boards the rover, but facing a horde of roaches, Tezuka injects himself with Rove beetle DNA, allowing him to clear a path by shooting gas projectiles. With Tezuka's efforts, the rover escapes the encroaching roaches unscathed. Back on the ship, Ichiro injects himself and transforms just in time for the roaches to break in. However, while Dojima fights, Ichiro runs to hide. Eventually, the roaches become too many to fight, so Ichiro seals the ship, crushing a few roaches with the closing door. Then he vacuums out the oxygen inside the ship, suffocating the remaining cockroaches. A few roaches continue to fight, and Dojima keeps battling them, but eventually, the lack of air knocks both him and Ichiro out. At that moment, the team inside the rover sees something massive approaching, almost like a huge tsunami. It's actually a massive wave of cockroaches. Mina drives the rover through the wave as Tezuka continues to shoot gas, smashing lots of roaches against the windows. The rover safely makes it through and they celebrate, but then they see an even bigger wave coming. Since Tezuka can't handle it alone, Maria and Osako inject themselves to transform as well. Osako gains the powers of the hardshell weevil from Okinawa, which has an incredibly tough shell, and Maria becomes a rainbow stag beetle, known for its incredible camouflage. Once they mutate, both women join Tezuka on the roof and act as a shield, allowing the rover to pass through. However, after crossing the wave, the vehicle flips and crashes, knocking everyone inside out and tossing the trio to the ground. Suddenly, the rover's autopilot activates and it drives away, leaving the trio behind. The roaches soon surround them and quickly kill all three without mercy. Moments later, the remaining team wakes up and finds themselves at the Bugs 1 ship, unaware of a drone watching them nearby. Torimaru and Yoshikane stay outside to guard the entrance while the others enter the ship to investigate. Mina tries to run a diagnostic and discovers the ship's computer is transmitting data to someone on Earth. They hear gunshots and run outside, only to find Yoshikane and Torimaru dead. Yoshikane had the abilities of a diving beetle, and Torimaru had the powers of a mole cricket, but neither got to use their abilities. Suddenly, a bunch of roaches emerge, revealing they can use the weaponry they took from the Bugs 1. Komachi decides they must fight and injects himself to mutate into the Asian giant hornet. With his new powers, Komachi easily punches holes through the roaches, killing them effortlessly. Jin joins the fight by injecting himself to become a migratory locust, known for its powerful legs that can jump up to 90 stories high. Mina transforms into a giant Asian mantis with sharp legs that slice through everything. Working together, they manage to kill all the roaches, but as the fog clears, they are shocked to see a pyramid nearby. Meanwhile, a roach watching the Bugs 2 from afar reveals it can speak and has a phone, which it uses to call Honda and report that everything is going to plan. Honda advises the roach to avoid Komachi if he transforms, as his bug is very dangerous. After hanging up, the roach goes inside the ship, activates the oxygen, and points a gun at Dojima, calling him Captain. When Dojima wonders what's going on, the creature's body splits, revealing a mutated Asuka inside. She has become an emerald cockroach wasp, whose stinger allows her to control roaches' minds. Before she was killed, she manipulated the creatures to fight each other. It turns out both Asuka and Ichiro were working for Honda in secret. Asuka kills Dojima and splashes water on Ichiro, who has the genes of the sleeping chironomid from Central Africa. This bug never dies because it enters a state of stasis in danger, needing only water to wake up. Once Ichiro awakens, he and Asuka check on the egg they must retrieve for Honda, which contains a second-generation roach. As Ichiro works on reactivating the ship, Nanao's body continues to release white strings. Komachi and the others see the activation of Bugs 2, just as the drone reveals itself, controlled by Honda. He thanks them for the battle data and reveals Ichiro sabotaged the ship. After announcing Dojima's death, Honda explains that the pod from Bugs 1 returned to Earth with a roach head, which he used to propose super soldier experiments to the government. The real mission was always to recover the egg, not to kill the roaches. Honda reveals that the pyramid is related to genetic memory, showing that roaches are aliens who used humanity before moving to Mars. As Bugs 2 prepares to leave, Ichiro recalls why he accepted the mission. His family lived in poverty, and he had been set up by his professor, ruining his chance at wealth. Asuka joined for the power. The egg hatches early, releasing 2 evolved cockroaches. Asuka tries to control them, but they are too advanced. They kill Asuka and call for reinforcements. Soon, all the roaches fly to the ship, causing it to malfunction. An engine explodes, and the roaches attack Ichiro, who quickly injects himself to enter stasis. Bugs 2 crashes near Bugs 1, and the roaches attack the trio, who transform to fight back. Initially, they do well, but the evolved roaches join the battle, moving faster and hitting harder. Mina is soon killed with her own arm, prompting Jin to take a second dose, making him look more insect-like. Komachi does the same, allowing them to kill many roaches quickly. Jin takes a third dose, developing wings and fighting roaches in the air, smashing them against the ship. However, the roaches keep coming, and Jin, ignoring Komachi's warnings, takes more doses, losing the ability to become human again. He attacks an evolved roach, stabbing its stomach and beheading it with a kick, but then falls exhausted. In the midst of the chaos, Komachi rushes to protect Jin, but the evolved roach renders his attacks ineffective by breaking his stingers. Just when it seems hopeless, Nanao, transformed into a silkworm moth, sacrifices herself to save them with a powerful explosion. Jin, realizing her sacrifice, desperately tries to stop her, but Komachi, now with wings, joins her in the explosion. Although Jin saves Komachi, Nanao tragically perishes once more. The blast shakes Bugs 1, awakening Ichiro, who recalls his promise to his mother and ruthlessly fights off a roach to survive. Both Komachi and Jin fall to the ground, and when Komachi regains consciousness, he finds Jin transformed into an insect, but still able to communicate. Jin urges Komachi to honor Nanao's sacrifice and survive. Despite encountering weakened roaches, including an evolved one, Komachi opts to spare them. Upon returning to the ship, he discovers Ichiro alive. After a tense encounter, they call a truce and escape back to Earth, with the evolved roach preventing pursuit. Back on Earth, Honda, the mastermind behind the mission, remains indifferent to Ichiro's attempts to expose the truth. His assistant, revealed to be working for the Japanese government, attempts to stop him but fails due to Honda's protective barrier. In retaliation, he deploys a mechanical spider that kills her. Meanwhile, on the spaceship, Ichiro vows to expose the truth, while Komachi plans to honor their fallen crewmates before returning to Mars. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more amazing recaps.